You ever feel like you're living a double life, but instead of being some international spy or secret agent, you're just saving money? That's how it started for me.
Totally normal guy, working a mediocre 9-to-5 job at an insurance company, living in a shared house with two roommates who treated budgeting like a dirty word.
Meanwhile, I was quietly, obsessively squirreling away cash like my life depended on it. And nobody, not my friends, not my coworkers, not even my own family, had the slightest clue.
It all started 2 years ago after a family meeting.
Picture this: my mom, my dad, my two sisters, all sitting around the kitchen table looking at me like I was an ATM that had just bounced a check. "We need to come together," my mom said, giving me her best sad eyes.
"Your sister needs help with college."
Which really meant, we need you to pay for it.
Now, I'd already been paying for more than my share of family stuff: emergency car repairs, unexpected medical bills, short-term loans that never got repaid. Meanwhile, I was living paycheck to paycheck, driving a beater car with a missing hubcap, and scraping together quarters to do laundry.
That night, sitting at the table, something inside me snapped. No more.
I didn't tell them that, of course. I just smiled, nodded, said I'd see what I could do, and left it at that.
But the second I got home, I made a decision: I was going to save $100,000. And no one, not my family, not my roommates, not anyone, was going to know about it. I started by opening a brand new savings account at a tiny credit union 2 towns over, one that nobody in my family banked with. I didn't even set up online banking. I wanted it old school, paper statements mailed to a P.O. box I rented in secret. Then, I slashed my expenses like a madman. Asterisk, I canceled every subscription I had. Asterisk, switched to prepaid phone service.
Asterisk, bought a $150 beater bike from Craigslist and started biking everywhere instead of driving. Asterisk, moved into the smallest bedroom in our house and sublet my old room to a friend of a friend under the table. Every spare penny went into that secret account.
Birthday money? Deposited. Work bonuses? Deposited. Spare change? Rolled and deposited.
I even started picking up gig work: dog walking, delivery driving, freelance proofreading. If someone needed a guy to put together IKEA furniture for $40, boom, I was there with a toolbox and a fake smile. By the end of the first year, I had stashed away nearly $38,000.
But the trickiest part? Hiding it.
Because the second you act different, no more beers at the bar, no more spontaneous Amazon orders, people notice. "Dude, you coming out tonight?" my roommate Brett would yell from the hallway.
"Nah, man, I'm wiped," I'd lie from my mattress on the floor. Couldn't afford a bed frame after all.
In reality, I was sitting there with a spreadsheet open, calculating how many more months it would take to hit 6 figures if I added another $200 per month.
And then, just when I thought I had my double life perfectly under control, something happened that almost blew the whole thing up.
It started with a knock at my bedroom door.
Late at night. Real late. I opened it to find my other roommate, Travis, standing there, looking weird. Shifty.
"Hey man," he said, scratching the back of his neck.
"You got any cash? Like, a lot of cash?" I froze. "Why?"
I asked, trying to sound casual.
"Well," he said, glancing around like he was expecting the FBI to burst through the windows, "I kinda got into a little situation." Turns out Travis had gotten himself into serious gambling debt. Like, break your kneecaps if you don't pay up kind of debt.
"They want the money by Friday," he said.
"If I don't get it, I'm screwed."
I stared at him, heart hammering in my chest.
Did he somehow know? Had he found one of the deposit slips? Heard me muttering numbers in my sleep?
"Man," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, "you know I'm broke." He nodded, looking disappointed but not surprised.
"Yeah," he said. "Yeah, I figured. Just figured I'd ask." And then he left.
I sat there for a long time afterward, staring at the closed door, sweating bullets.
That was the first time I realized saving money in secret wasn't just about discipline. It was about survival. Because the second people even suspected you had something they didn't, they would come for it.
So, after the Travis scare, I got paranoid. I'm talking checking my closet for wiretaps, triple locking my door, setting up fake decoy budgets on my laptop in case anyone snooped. Paranoid.
I thought I was being smart. Turns out, I wasn't paranoid enough.
It happened on a random Saturday. Brett, the more trustworthy roommate, decided to throw a small get-together.
Small, in Brett speak, meant half the zip code crammed into our living room drinking bottom shelf whiskey. I was stuck working a night shift gig assembling furniture for some guy who paid me in cash, straight into my secret stash, obviously. I came home around 2 a.m., exhausted, only to find the house a wreck, empty beer bottles everywhere, pizza crust smashed into the carpet, somebody's underwear dangling from the ceiling fan. You know. Normal small party aftermath. Grumbling, I headed toward my room and froze. My door was slightly open. I never leave my door open. Heart hammering, I pushed it open and saw Brett passed out on my bed, drooling into my only decent pillow. But that wasn't the worst part. On my desk, in plain view, was a little blue notebook, the one where I secretly kept rough tallies of my savings. Wide open. For anyone to see. I rushed over, snatching it up. Flipping through the pages. Pages full of dates, deposits, totals, $42,000 saved by June, $58,000 by December, stretch goal, $100,000. It was all there. Written in big, dumb, undeniable letters. My hands were shaking. I jammed the notebook into my backpack, slammed my door shut, locked it way too late, and sat down hard on the mattress. I had been so careful. And now? If even one drunk idiot had read that notebook? Game. Over. Sure enough, the next morning, Brett was all weird around me. Kept shooting me these sideways looks, like he knew something he wasn't supposed to. At breakfast, as I was making sad instant oatmeal, he casually said, "Hey man, when you get rich, don't forget the little people, huh?" I froze, spoon halfway to my mouth. What? I said, trying to play dumb. He smirked. You know what I'm talking about. Panic. Full-blown, cold sweat panic. Nah, dude, I said, laughing way too hard. I'm broke as hell, remember? You think I'd still live here if I had money? He just shrugged and went back to eating cereal straight out of the box. But that's when I knew. The clock was ticking. Word would spread. It always did. I needed a new plan. And fast. If I was gonna keep my secret and my money safe, I had to disappear financially. First step, vanish from the house. I told Brett and Travis that I had gotten a new job across town and needed to move closer to work. Convenient, right? In reality, I'd found a crummy little studio apartment through a guy I met doing a handyman gig. No background checks. No credit report. Paid cash up front for 3 months to stay off the books. While I pretended to look for moving boxes, I spent my nights moving tiny loads of my stuffed laptop, clothes, my mattress under cover of darkness. On the third night, I smuggled out the real prize, my hidden emergency stash, almost $9,000 in cash tucked inside a hollowed-out copy of the Da Vinci Code sitting on my bookshelf. Yeah. That's how deep the paranoia went. Finally, one weekend when Brett and Travis were out getting trashed, I bailed for good. Left a note on the fridge. Thanks for the memories. And just like that, I was gone. The studio was a dump. Exposed pipes, creaky floors, windows that didn't fully close. But it was mine. And nobody knew where I was. Nobody could accidentally stumble onto my savings plans. But I wasn't done yet. Second step, hide the money even better. I started using a cash mule trick I picked up reading Reddit, taking tiny amounts of cash and buying money orders from random post offices around the city. $500 here. $700 there. Never enough to trigger alarms. I'd send them all to my credit union P.O. box and deposit them incrementally. Meanwhile, I opened an online brokerage account under a totally boring fake business name and started investing small amounts into low-risk ETFs. Nothing flashy. Just safe, boring growth. Every paycheck, every side hustle payment, every penny I could spare got chopped up, laundered through money orders, and hidden away. It worked. For a while. 3 months later, I hit a milestone, $75,000. I wanted to scream it from the rooftops. I wanted to punch a hole through the wall. I wanted to buy a solid gold toilet. Instead, I celebrated by eating a $1 slice of pizza and watching YouTube videos on how to retire early. And that's when the phone calls started. First, it was Brett. Yo, where'd you go, man? Heard you came into some money? Then Travis. Bro, you gotta help me out. Got another situation. Then, worse, my sister. Hey, she texted, like we were old pals. Mom said you're doing really well? So proud of you. Also, could you maybe help me out with a little thing? That's when it hit me like a freight train. Somebody talked. Probably Brett, running his mouth at a party. They all knew. I wasn't just fighting for my money anymore. I was fighting for my freedom. The first intervention happened on a Sunday. I just finished a 12-hour gig moving furniture when I stumbled home, arms sore, smelling like dust and regret. I barely got the door shut before my phone blew up. Text after text, call after call. Family meeting. 5 p.m. Mom's house. Non-negotiable. I knew exactly what it was about. But some dumb, guilt-ridden part of me thought maybe they'll understand. Maybe they'll just be happy for me? Spoiler, they were not. When I walked in, it was an ambush. Mom, Dad, my sister, even my sketchy-ass cousin Tyler, all sitting in the living room, arms crossed, jaws tight. We heard you're doing really well, my mom said, sweet as battery acid. It's time you started giving back. Giving back. Like I was some kind of community chest in Monopoly. They listed their proposals. Asterisk help pay off Dad's medical debt, aka credit cards he maxed out buying a motorcycle. Asterisk pay for my sister's new business idea, selling essential oils on Instagram. Asterisk lend Tyler a little startup cash for his import-export hustle, read, definitely illegal. The worst part? They made it sound like an obligation. Like I'd somehow betrayed them by getting ahead. I sat there, nodding alone, trying to keep my face neutral while inside my brain was lighting up like Times Square. Run. 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 When they finally finished laying out their reasonable expectations, I took a breath. I'm sorry, I said. But I'm not giving out money. You'd have thought I set the Christmas tree on fire. Mom started crying. Dad called me ungrateful. Tyler muttered something about people forgetting where they came from. My sister? She just stared at me, pure hatred in her eyes. You think you're better than us now, she hissed. No. I thought, standing up. I just finally realized what you all are. Leeches. Over the next week, the friendly pressure turned into full-blown threats. Asterisk Dad called and left voicemail saying you'll regret this. Asterisk Tyler sent some charming text about how accidents happen. Asterisk my sister blew up my social media, calling me selfish and toxic and abandoning family. I tightened my defenses. Asterisk changed my phone number. Asterisk deleted all social media. Asterisk moved my P.O. box to another city. Asterisk put two-factor authentication on every account I owned. I even started varying my routes home, like I was in a Jason Bourne movie, because paranoia wasn't a maybe anymore. It was survival. It all came to a head when I got an email from my landlord. Notice of early lease termination. Apparently, someone had accidentally tipped him off that I was conducting suspicious financial activity. No proof, of course. But the guy didn't want trouble. I had 30 days to vacate. They were trying to smoke me out. And it was working. With 30 days to vacate and my life feeling like a ticking bomb, I knew what I had to do: disappear completely. I sold almost everything I owned. Furniture, electronics, even my ratty old bike. I kept only what would fit in the trunk of my car. I found a tiny rental cabin 3 hours away, cash only, no lease, no questions asked. A retired guy owned it and barely checked on it. It was perfect, isolated, hidden, anonymous. Before leaving town, I made one last stop. The credit union. I walked in, heart hammering, feeling like a spy on his final mission. When the teller smiled and pulled up my account, I almost choked. $101,384.12. I had done it. I wasn't rich by any stretch. But to me, that number might as well have been $1 million. I withdrew a chunk of it, not all, just enough, and moved the rest into a set of ultra-conservative investments under a different, more trustworthy sounding name, a tip I got from some obscure financial forum. The cash? I tucked it away, hidden so deep in the cabin that not even a bloodhound could sniff it out. I changed my phone number again. I ghosted. No forwarding address. No goodbye messages. Nothing. To the people back home, I simply vanished. The messages kept coming for a while, sure. New numbers. Angry emails. Even a missing persons post that popped up on Facebook, hilarious, considering the missing person was sipping coffee on a porch, watching squirrels, and learning how to fix a leaky roof. But eventually, they gave up. Life moved on without me. And I moved on without them. I got a remote job, spent my days working online, and my nights hiking through the woods and teaching myself how to cook actual meals instead of instant noodles. For the first time in my entire life, I wasn't running from something. I was running towards something. Freedom. Every once in a while, I'd think about that night at the family meeting. About their faces when I said no. Did they regret how they treated me? Probably not. Did I regret walking away? Not for a second. Because here's the real truth they never tell you. Sometimes family are just people who want to drain you dry. Sometimes loyalty is just a chain wrapped around your neck. And sometimes the smartest, bravest, most freeing thing you can ever do is walk away with your head high, your wallet full, and your future finally your own.